Welcome back. The National Archives released thousands of documents yesterday related to the assassination of President John F. Kennedy. Some of the documents are documents they released before, but this time with fewer redactions. So historians are now combing through the over 13,000 documents, looking for any new information, including more details relating to Lee Harvey Oswald's trip to Mexico City weeks before JFK's assassination. But despite the release of this tranche of documents, it falls short of a 1992 law that required all documents be made public to the public, available by October of 2017. In 2017, then President Trump authorized the release of some documents, but he was convinced to hold back others, citing national security concerns. And last year, President Biden postponed the release of any documents, citing the pandemic, which is why we just got this release now. According to the National Archives, 97% of all documents related to JFK's assassination have been released, and the remaining 3% are either fully or partially redacted. In a memo from the president, the National Archives have until May of next year to review the remaining redactions, with the next batch of documents scheduled to be released by June of next year. So joining me now to break this down is Jeff Morley. He is simply the best JFK expert there is. He's vice president of the Mary Farrell Foundation. So Jeff, it seems as if we're sort of in the same place we were last year when we talked about this, which is the CIA is clearly afraid of something going public about their actions in Latin America, Cuba, or what they knew about Oswald. And it looks as if we're not getting any answers from this tranche of documents.
That is unfortunately what has happened. For the fourth time in 5 years, the CIA has blown the deadline for full disclosure that's written into the law. So the only thing you conclude is that if you're hiding something for so long in defiance of the law, you have something to hide. And, the question these documents raise is, what is that thing? First of all, this release is a bit of a shell game. Yes, some documents were released in full. We went through last night and checked about 35 documents that supposedly released in full. In fact, only 13 of them were released in full, and 20 others still contain virtually the same redactions that they included last week. They might have declassified a sentence or two. So there's a bit of a shell game going on here, and which sort of doubles the importance of the question. So what are they hiding?
Look, there's a lot of theories. It seems like one of the explanations could be there's some actions they took in the 50s in Latin America, in Cuba, in dealing with Oswald that are going to be pretty embarrassing. And perhaps a sitting president would have to apologize on behalf of the American government, which is why every one of these sitting presidents, when they're faced with the release deadline, end up sort of exactly because it's easier. Is that the most likely explanation here?
That is what's going on. The question is, are they hiding, incompetence? Or are they hiding actual, complicity or malfeasance in the case of the assassination of the president? And, when you don't have all the records and somebody keeps, violating a clear agreement by Congress that all of this material should be made public, people are going to think the worst. And clearly the CIA doesn't care about those consequences of encouraging people to believe in conspiracy theories, because they can always say, look, the government's still hiding something. It's unfortunate that neither Trump nor Biden put their foot down and ended, this charade. And now they're going to kick the can down the road and, hope that this thing goes away. But, look at the attention it gets every November 22nd. Right. Look at the attention this order gets. It's not going to go away. The CIA wants the problem to go away, but it's a problem of their own making, and the only way to solve it is to have full disclosure now.
Look, at some point I hope to interview the current head of the CIA. He seems like a guy that believes in transparency really more than any other CIA. He at least has preached it more than previous heads of the CIA. This really does feel as if, are we, at this point, do we have to wait until our grandchildren are adults and they'll get the full release?
I don't think that we should settle for that. At a time when democratic institutions are under assault and being questioned and delegitimized, this is the time to show people that government does work and that the government can take a hit. If something wrong, criminal happened related to President Kennedy's assassination 60 years ago, The American people are grown up. I think they can handle it. Yes, the CIA might be mightily embarrassed. You know what? Somebody might lose their job. That doesn't need to be an important consideration in this. Congress was very explicit when they passed this law. All of this stuff should be public by 2017. So, 5 years after the deadline, it's time to enforce the law and end the nonsense.
Would you like to see more members of the Kennedy family be out front asking for this release? Do you think that would help?
It would. I understand that it's a very painful subject for them, that it draws them into conversations they don't want to be involved in. I think it's incumbent on Congress to take the lead here. The courts can't really force the executive branch to do anything, not a lot. But Congress could step in here and have oversight hearings and say, let's get to the bottom of this. If you have concerns, there's something you really have to hide, in 5 or 10 cases, okay, but not thousands of documents, which is still the situation we're in today. There's 4,000 CIA documents about the assassination that still contain redactions, that we're not going to see for a while.
Right. But Jeff, it's 97%. They've released 97%. I'm kidding. I just find that to be, it's always the 3%.
Yeah, no, and that's the shell game. That's all the government records. That's not the CIA records. The CIA only released about 2/3 of the documents that had redactions yesterday. So, they're playing games with this subject, and that encourages people to be suspicious. It's too bad.
No, you're right. You're right. It only increases conspiratorial thinking at a time when we should be demystifying how things work. Jeff Morley, always a pleasure to have you on. Keep digging, my friend. Keep digging.
Thank you, Chuck.
Up next.
Thanks for watching our YouTube channel. Follow today's top stories and breaking news by downloading the NBC News app.